Hey lovelies, and welcome back again to my channel. And how you all guys doing? I know it's been a minute since I last updated you guys. I'm 19 weeks today. I feel much better. I feel much stronger, less nausea, less vomiting, although I still throw up here and there. But yeah, I feel much stronger now. This is officially my gender review vlog. But first thing first, I thought of doing my makeup. I thought of playing with my makeup and doing all of those cute stuff. It's been more than 6 months since I last wore makeup. I thought of doing something really different. I thought of chit-chatting with you guys, telling you guys all that has been happening while I do my makeup. And yeah, I know this is gonna be a multitask. Let's see how it goes. So you guys, like I said, I'm 19 weeks today. You guys, you have to pardon me. I'll be eating my edible clay so as to suppress my nausea, so that way I don't throw up more often, okay? I feel more stronger. So yeah, I thought it twice to reveal the sex of our precious one. The first thing I would do is to go ahead and define my brows. You guys, I'm having tattoos, so each time I want to do my makeup, the first thing I do is to go ahead and define my brows using my brow pencil, okay? So you guys, prior to my previous video, prior to my blood work, I collected my pregnancy test results, and you guys, my HCG level is extremely so high. I did my first blood pregnancy test while I was just 3 weeks gone, and yeah, my HCG level was extremely so high. My HCG level was more than 19,000. I'm gonna leave a picture of the results of my pregnancy blood work. I'm gonna leave it right here. My HCG level was extremely so high. That was before I started having nausea. That was before I felt sick. And yeah, when I collected my results, I showed it to my doctor, and she was shocked, and she said high HCG level signifies two things. It's either you're having multiple babies or you're having a baby girl. And she went ahead to ask us the sex of the baby we desire, and we responded a healthy baby. Being a boy, being a girl, all we desire is a healthy baby. So that was our response to her, and that was before we knew what we are having, okay? And she said girls' pregnancy hormones tend to be so high. If you're having a very high HCG, it simply means you're having multiple babies or you're having a baby girl. So that was what she said, okay? And a few weeks later, you guys, we went for our gender appointment, and you guys, we knew what we having. I've been so sick. That was the reason why I could not update you guys prior to my previous videos. So right now, I drew my eyebrows. The next thing I will do is to go ahead and clean my eyebrows so that way they look more defined, okay? To define my brows, I'll be using a tiny little brush. I think I will have to go off camera to draw and define my brows, so that way this video will not be too long, and I will be right back, okay? So I finished correcting my brows. I think they look nice right now. Not so perfect, but they look nice, okay? Right now, I'm going to define the edge of my brows so that way they look seamless. I'm going to define it. I'm using same little brush I used to correct my brows, okay? And so yeah, I just finished drawing my brows. So the next thing I will do is to prime my eyelids. And for that, I'll be using my Juvia's liquid concealer. This is what it looks like. I'll go ahead and prime my eyelids using my Juvia's concealer, okay? So after adding a little, next thing I will do is to brush this. I'll try to blend this in so as to avoid having harsh lines. I'll carefully blend this in. So you guys, with this pregnancy, my symptoms are enormous compared to my previous pregnancies. This pregnancy came with a different phase, you guys. And so yeah, I just finished priming my eyelids. The next thing I will do is to go ahead and apply my eyeshadow. For my eyeshadow, I'll be using from this both palettes from Juvia's. This is Zulu by Juvia's, and this is Africa by Juvia's. I'll be using some nice shades from this both palettes, okay? So the first shade I'll be using as my transition shade is this orange shade right here, and I'll be using this fluffy brush to apply this to my lids area. okay, like this. Like they do say, all pregnancies are not the same. With this pregnancy, the symptoms, the feelings is extremely different from my previous pregnancies. So yeah, I just defined my lids using my transition shade. The next shade I'll be using is this yellow shade from my Zulu palette by Juvia's. I'm gonna use this to brush out my crease area so as to avoid having harsh lines like this. So you guys, I've been extremely sick. I've been so sick with this pregnancy. I've been so sick that there are days I barely can't eat. All I literally do is drink water. Although my prenatal vitamins have been helping my appetite of late, there are some days I go without eating. I just drink water and sleep. And you guys know it's really not nice for a pregnant woman to go a day without eating. It's really not nice. But yeah, I lost appetite. I could not eat. Each time I eat, I tend to throw up my food. So yeah, I could not help it but go days without eating. All I literally do is drink water. I just defined my crease area using this both shade. After defining my both eyelids, the next thing I want to do is to add this dark shade to my outer corner. These past weeks have not been rosy. It has been from one symptoms to another, from nausea to fatigue, from fatigue to vomiting, from vomiting to laying on the bed, from one symptoms to another. It has really not been rosy, you guys. But yeah, I'm glad, I'm super happy I've rolled past my first trimester. I'm going to be sharing my symptoms with this pregnancy prior to my week 1 up until this minute, my 19 weeks today. I'm going to be sharing the symptoms I had with this pregnancy. My first and second week of this pregnancy, I had a terrible fatigue and nausea. Like you guys, my nausea and fatigue was a norm. So yeah, I had nausea and fatigue in week 1 and week 2. In my week 3, I started throwing up. I tend to throw up anything I eat. Even if it's water, I throw it up. So I started throwing up in my week 3. I started vomiting. My vomiting lasted up until this minute. My week 4, I experienced nose bleeding, you guys. Nose bleeding in my week 4. One morning, I woke up from sleep and I sneezed. The next thing I could see was blood running out from my nose. That was in my week 4 of my pregnancy. I was having nose bleeding and it lasted up until week 7. I tend to bleed in every given opportunity. When I sneeze, I bleed out from my nose. When I put my head down, I start bleeding from my nose. This was strange and it was something I never experienced in my previous pregnancies. The first day I saw blood coming out from my nose, I was so shocked. I was so scared. I quickly rang my doctor and I told her what was happening, and she asked me if I'm having pains in my nose, and I said no, and she said you need enough sleep and enough rest. There is absolutely nothing to be scared of. These are some of the symptoms. I was like, bleeding from my nose a symptom? It was extremely so strange. This was something I never experienced prior to my previous pregnancies. And this lasted up until my 7 weeks, okay? From my week 4, I started bleeding. Week 4 was bleeding from my nose. Yeah, my makeup is coming out so cute. This is a multitask. This is actually my first time I'm doing makeup and at the same time I'm talking. I blended my outer corner so as to make it look more defined. So the next thing I will do is to apply this shimmer shade from my Juvia's palette to my inner corners. To apply this shimmer shade to my inner corners, I'll be using my flat edge brush. So yeah, so you guys, I think I will have to finish with my eyes so that way I will have the time to talk to you guys, okay? The next thing I will do is to go ahead and line my lash area into where my first lash is. To line my lash area, I'll be using my eyeliner from NYS. After applying my eyeliner to my lash area, the next thing I will do is to go ahead and add some mascara. And I'll be using my mascara from Kiko. I'll use this to define my natural lashes before adding my false lashes. Okay, next is to apply my false lashes, and I will have to do this off camera. I really don't want this video to be too long. I'll have to go off camera to wear my lashes, and I'll be right back. So I fix my lashes off camera, so I'll go in again with my eyeliner so as to make it look more symmetrical. Okay, I'll use this to define my lash area, just very close to where I have my lashes. Hope you guys love my look. Moving on to my skin. First, before applying my foundation, I'll quickly go ahead and wipe out the excess fell I had from my eyeshadow. I'll wipe this off my face. Next thing I want to do is to quickly prime my face, and for that I'm using the Kiko face primer. So now that I'm done with my both eyes look, I will continue with my pregnancy symptoms updates. So yeah, for my week 5, I started having white patches around my face in my chest region. So I started having skin discoloration, white patches, and eczema. That was in my week 5. So you guys, for my week 6 to 7 symptoms of this pregnancy was memory loss. You guys, I tend to forget things so fast. I find it so difficult to recall or to remember things, and this lasted up until my 10th week of my pregnancy. My week 6 to 7 was memory loss. So after priming my face, the next thing I want to do is to go ahead and apply my foundation. And for my foundation, I'll be using my Juvia's foundation. I will go ahead and apply a little drop of this to the back of my hand like this. I want to be so careful so that way I don't go overboard. After applying my foundation to the back of my hand, the next thing I went ahead to do was to grab my foundation brush, and I'll be using the back of my foundation brush to apply my foundation to my face, so that way I don't apply too much. Okay, so you guys, my memory lost at my 6 to 7 week of my pregnancy was extremely too terrible. I tend to forget my appointment with my doctors. I tend to forget or recall things so easily, you know. This lasted up until the 10th week of my pregnancy. Memory loss. It was a very terrible experience, you guys. For my week 9 to 10, I started experiencing sweating. You guys, I started sweating at my 10th week. This was something I never experienced with my previous pregnancies, you know. After blending in my foundation, next is to apply my concealer. And for my concealer, I'll be using the Juvia's Stick Concealer. After applying my concealer to my under eye, and the next thing I want to do is to go ahead and blend this. And I'll be using my beauty blender and blend this into my skin. So the next thing I want to do is to go ahead and contour my chin area, and to contour, I'll be using my Juvia's concealer stick in the shade Beanie. So I'll use this to contour my chin area like this. Like this, the side of my nose, the temple of my head like this. This is what it looks like. My 9 to 10 weeks of my pregnancy, I started experiencing sweating. You guys, even when everyone is feeling cold, me, I'm busy sweating. I tend to sweat a whole lot, and this gave me lots of concern. I tend to sweat in any little thing I do. I'll start sweating. I tend to sweat very easily, and I sweat profusely. Guys, the smell that comes with my sweating was so intense. I tend to sweat in every little thing. I can sweat very, very easily. So moving on to my 11 to 12 weeks of my pregnancy symptoms, you guys, I was so emotional. It was mood swing. I was so emotional to a point that I would be the one to yell at someone and I would be the one to start crying bitterly. I was just so emotional in every little and meaningless things, and tears tend to pave out my eyes in any little opportunity, like in any little given opportunity. When I yell at someone, I would be the one to cry bitterly. This was my 11th in 12 weeks of my pregnancy symptoms. Moving on to my 14 to 16 weeks of my pregnancy symptoms is nausea, spitting, vomiting, and total loss of appetite, you guys. 14 and 16 weeks, I can go days without eating. And I won't even feel hungry. All I literally do is to drink water and eat edible clay. I was so craving for edible clay. I was having serious pickle cravings at my 14 to 16 week of my pregnancy. Moving on to my 18-week symptoms of my pregnancy was leak pee, you guys. Leak pee was my 18-week symptom. When I sneeze, I pee. When I laugh loud, I pee. I pee so easily even when I'm not feeling pressed to go pee. This was not something I was scared about, even though I never experienced it with my previous pregnancies. But I've heard lots of pregnant women talked about leak pee as their pregnancy symptoms. And so yeah, at my 18th week of my pregnancy, I experienced leak pee. These are my pregnancy symptoms so far, and today I'm in my 19th week of my pregnancy. I'll come back to update you guys from my 19 weeks up until my 39-40 weeks of my pregnancy. Okay, so right now I'll quickly go ahead and finish my makeup so we can move on to the next scene of this video, which is my gender reveal. Okay, I'll go ahead to bake the areas where I concealed using my Juvia's setting powder.